Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. As our first video, we will discuss why Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 8, Jojolion, is bad. I mean, how can anyone like this part? Let's discuss some parts of it. First off, let's talk about the plot. Jojolion starts with a cool premise. Josuke Higashikata wakes up with amnesia in the town of Morio. Sounds interesting, right? Well, the initial mystery about his identity is intriguing, but as the story goes on, it becomes a mess. The plot drags on with a lot of irrelevant subplots and forced twists that don't really end anything meaningful. Also, one of the biggest problems is the pacing. The story feels like it's moving at a snail's pace, especially with all the focus on the Rokakaka fruit. Instead of being exciting, it just gets boring. The climax, which revolves around these fruits, feels anticlimactic and underwhelming. It's like the story is going nowhere fast, and it's really hard to stay engaged. And then we have the fillers. Jojolion is packed with them. There are so many side stories and unnecessary arcs that just don't contribute to the main plot. These fillers make the manga feel bloated and disjointed. I mean, I always like the randomness in life, which makes it more realistic, but this randomness that the story added and some random stands that appeared out of nowhere made the plot contradictory. Next up, let's discuss the characters. Josuke Higashikata, the protagonist, is probably the least interesting JoJo we've had. His personality is flat and his stand, soft and wet, it's just boring. All the hype it got in the first chapter was gone and was getting more and more worthless. Also, why the Higashikata family had a prison cell with his clothes? Like it had a big mystery behind Josuke's connection with the family, but it all was meaningless in the end and left many questions unanswered. As I said before, filled with a lot of contradictions. The supporting characters aren't much better. The Higashikata family, who should be central to the story, come off as one dimensional and forgettable. Even characters like Jobin, who start out promising, end up being disappointing. And don't even get me started on Joshu. He's not just annoying, his actions, like trying to assault Yasuho, are really off putting and don't seem to serve any purpose other than to make him unlikable. One of the biggest draws of JoJo has always been the stand battles. Unfortunately, Jojolion really drops the ball here. The stands are either too vague or too overpowered, making the battles feel more like a chore than an exciting fight. The infamous Beetle fight arc is a prime example. It drags on and feels pointless, with none of the excitement we expect from JoJo battles. Finally, the ending. After years of build up, the conclusion of Jojolion is a letdown. The final antagonist, Toru, is hyped up but doesn't deliver. His motivations are pretty lame compared to previous villains, and the final fight is full of random plot devices that makes no sense. There are also a ton of unresolved plot threads. Important characters and story arcs are just left hanging, which is super frustrating after investing so much time into the series, right? It feels like Araki didn't know how to wrap things up properly in this manga. So, in summary, Jojolion is a big disappointment. The confusing plot, slow pacing, too many fillers, weak characters, uninspired stand battles, and a disappointing ending all contribute to making it the worst part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't really like JoJo in general, but I thought that Araki was really cooking with Part 7, and I really thought that Araki evolved as a mangaka. But Jojolion proved me wrong. So, how can you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8 Jojolion? Thanks for watching, guys, and let me know what you think in the comments.